What's going on there, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about the college football season, as most of the bowls are about up, preview the national title game, and I guess add one more video, one more opinion into the conversation, into the brick wall of why there should be a playoff system in college football. Basically, I don't know about everybody out there. I've been a fan of a playoff system. I don't understand how the NCAA can have one of the greatest sporting events in sports, as in the Field of 64, the college basketball tournament, and not figure out a way to make a college football tournament. Especially when every division in college football, all the way down to Division III, has a playoff system. If it comes down to money, I'm sure these networks would pay a lot of money to have some playoff games, if you put it on the playoff system. As the years have gone on, I'd have to say my interest in the bowl games has kind of gone downhill, and I know my friends around me has. I don't know about everybody else out there in America. I know there's a lot of pride in it for the schools involved, but, every year we used to watch every game. We placed bets on games, watch every single game because there was always some good matchups. I remember growing up on them games, But I think it's just there's so many games now and it's so watered down that it's kind of ridiculous. Why should there be a 6-6 team in a bowl game? Really. You think not even 10, 15 years ago you had, we can go back to the 80s where there were so little bowl games. A great player like John Elway never played in a bowl game, And now you got teams 6-6 out there playing bowl games. Come on. The Hawaii Bowl, it's, if you want to go out to Hawaii and play a football game, put them on your schedule, you know what I'm saying? But it just seems to be watered down. You look at these BCS games, which are supposed to be these big money games. Over the past few years, they've been big money blowouts. I don't know about the ratings. I haven't looked at the ratings because I'm not that interested, because obviously I wasn't that interested to watch the games to begin with, but I don't see how they're pulling in enough ratings and enough money that a playoff game couldn't. We just look at this year. Connecticut gets blown out by Oklahoma. We get Stanford getting blowing out Virginia Tech. Basically, the Ohio State-Arkansas game was a good game, but really it was just a tale of two halves. I think this year more than ever is why we need a playoff. And, they say in years past is why we need a playoff because of, these undefeated mid-major conferences like Utah going undefeated and the Boise State's going undefeated, upsetting Oklahoma. I take that sometimes with a grain of salt because some of them teams, like when Alabama lost to Utah, you just wonder if the big school was really in it. And it's like, all right, let's go down and let's kick it in New Orleans, but, we don't have nothing to play for. It's like, they say that they pride it on every game of college football is a playoff game. Well, it's like, you gotta look at the counterpart of the NFL. Let's just look at this year in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, which was a 5-11 team whose coaches just got fired, beat the New England Patriots and the New Orleans Saints in back-to-back weeks. They beat, in 3 straight years, they've beaten a defending Super Bowl champion. We're talking about the Cleveland Browns. You know what I'm saying? So, basically, if it was formatted like that, if there was no great playoff game, them two teams would be eliminated already. New England would be done, because I know Browns wouldn't equate in a bowl BCS berth, with a Browns loss. But I even got the history because I'm thinking about all the BCS title games. We got the BCS title game left, and that could be a great game. You got two high-powered offenses. You know what I'm saying? And they just seem to light it up all the time. But as I sat and thought, and I'm watching these blowouts, and I shouldn't say I'm watching them. I'm tuning in, seeing it's 14-7. Next thing I know, it's 28-7, and I'm not watching no more. I'm thinking back to the BCS championship game that's supposed to have gotten it right, and I'm thinking only 2 games that I can think of that were even good games, which was the Ohio State-Miami game and the end of the 02 season, which would have been the 03 game, and the Texas USC game, which at the Rose Bowl, which was a great game. Both of them great games. Them are the two games that really stick out in my head. And I decided, I'm like, let me look up the BCS games, and there's only been four BCS games that the games have even been within 10 minutes or 10 points. 4 games. So, and 2 of them 4 games, I don't even remember being them close of a games. It was like some late game point tallies. Now, every year people talk about it because, as this year TCU ended up beating Wisconsin. They went undefeated. They got nothing for it. You could talk about, I think it was the 2005 season when Auburn was undefeated as well, and they didn't get a chance to play for the national title. All these, it just equates to the NCAA needs to get it right. They keep making all this money. They keep, suspending athletes for trying to make money. You see in the Ohio State case, you see with old dude in Georgia earlier this year selling his jersey, getting in trouble for it. But, the payout, these schools are getting $13 million to show up for the bowl game. Why not turn it into a playoff? You know what I'm saying? It needs to be a playoff. And as it continues to not be a playoff, you're going to lose more and more fans to the NFL because, college football is the funnest to watch. I will say that. It's the funnest, but at the end of the day, it's kind of no point because once your team gets one loss, you're like, oh well. You know what I'm saying? Too late now. I'm an Ohio State fan. They had one loss this year, and basically Ohio State is, their reputation right now, they still got great teams, but their reputation, isn't as good because of their loss record against the SEC. So it's like as soon as they get a loss, or even, if they're undefeated and they just haven't won big, I'm like, well, this season's about over. That's why I watch the NFL, because any team can make it, You gotta, shoot. Look at the Steelers back in, what was it, the 05 or 06 Steelers? Wild card team, got in the last game of the NFL season, went on to win the Super Bowl. That's why, moments like that is why you need a playoff in college football. Not because of the TCUs, the Utahs, the Boise States. It's because of that team, that Pittsburgh. It could have been like, the Stanford is probably that team this year that, what, I guarantee right now the way Stanford's playing, they could probably beat any team on the field. But, it's all, I guess, a popularity contest when it comes down to the NCAA. So, you know what? Just one voice. I hope everybody collects, and maybe before my lifetime's over, we can see a playoff game and find out who a real national champion is. All right, you two, have a good one.